The acoustic data that's collected through monitoring, modeling, and logging can be leveraged in a multitude of ways that will contribute to overall management and protection of park resources.
We're going to be setting up this acoustical monitoring station in Rocky Mountain National Park. We'll be collecting existing ambient data, which then we can use to extract what the natural ambient level would be.
We use acoustical monitoring to measure several things about a park's environment. The first is to measure what is the background sound level in the park, because that sets the sort of baseline against which all sounds can be heard. We also monitor to characterize the presence of all kinds of physical and natural sounds that ought to be there. The sounds of flowing water, the sounds of wind through vegetation, and the sounds of many animals in parks.
Some of the things we considered when choosing this site were the topography around, the vegetative cover, the distance to noise sources, and also the logistics of whether we could bring equipment here. The acoustical monitoring systems we set up have a couple of components. The first of which is this calibrated, high sensitivity, weather shielded microphone that's collecting sound levels. This is a wind screen which protects the microphone from wind gusts, and on top is a bird spike that prevents birds from landing on top of the microphone and singing their hearts out. Inside the equipment case we have a few components. The sound level meter, which is receiving signal from the microphone and calculating 1/3 octave for our spectrograms, and also an MP3 player, or a recorder, which is receiving signal from the Larson Davis. So essentially we know how loud the environment is and we know what is making that sound. We also need to collect meteorological data. We're interested in temperature and humidity because they can both affect how sound propagates, and wind speed at certain levels can distort or contaminate our sound level measurements. We also have a power supply. In this case, because we have good solar exposure, we're going to use a solar panel that will recharge the batteries. One of the most critical parts of the acoustical monitoring setup is documenting the metadata about the site. These are all things that will change how sound propagates towards the system. We'll take 4 photos at each of the cardinal points looking towards the system. The system will be there for 25 days because that's what we've determined is necessary in order to document the natural variation in weather conditions and visitation that happen in a national park.
Another reason for acoustical monitoring is to characterize a specific noise source. Let's say the effect of an air conditioner on a building in a park, or the effects of a road corridor through an area of the park, or perhaps there are activities on the park boundaries like energy development that present potential problems.
We're along the Zion Canyon Scenic Drive. Here in the front country, we're monitoring mainly for vehicle noise, aircraft noise, and other human-caused sounds. At the location we're at right now, the only vehicles that are allowed into the canyon up here are shuttles that are carrying our visitors. Here in Zion, we have 2 sound systems. Usually we'll have one in the front country and then one in the wilderness. Once we collect the data, we're going to take it into the office and analyze it, and we're going to be comparing the data here with some standards that we set up in our soundscape management plan.
We also collect sound by having people go to parks and listen carefully and record what they hear and when they hear it. An attentive human listener can still pick up sounds and recognize them when a piece of automated equipment cannot.
Usually when you're out in the field, you can pinpoint sounds a little bit better just because you can hear them and see them. You hear the bus, you hear birds, and you hear water. Another reason why we do it is for a specific metric called the noise-free interval. which tells you the amount of time during that hour that you're doing the attended listening that you have only natural sounds that are heard.
Data collection really represents the foundation for what we do to protect the acoustic environment and soundscapes. We collect data to understand ambient conditions, and we also collect data to really understand specific noise sources. The reason that we collect all of these data in national parks is to make good decisions. So incorporating the acoustic environment and soundscapes into the planning process is critical for helping to protect park resources and values.